welcome to Nugg Talk.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Nugg Talk, a weekly podcast where we talk about everything going on in the NBA, and more specifically, everything going on with your Denver Nuggets. I'm your host, Loki, and I'm here once again with my co-host, Phil, who's doing doodles, I think. Oh, no, he's doing stuff for later podcasts. How you doing, Phil?
I am great.
I thought you were doing doodles. I was like, are you serious right now? Or are you a child?
I will doodle. No,
Don't
I'm
doodle.
not artistic. I don't even know what I was going to doodle.
Well, that's fair. But, yeah, so we're back. It's, I guess, like week 1 into preseason for NBA. Week 2, maybe. I don't really even know. Time's just flying by. But, yeah, preseason's back. We're going to talk definitely about our 2 preseason games that we have seen so far against the Blazers and the Clippers. But just to start off, like always, we're going to get into some NBA news. Now, obviously, there's some major NBA news going in the league regarding China. We will actually not be getting into that because we are 2 very uninformed individuals who don't have any insights on adding anything to this because why would you even listen to our opinions on this? It makes no sense.
You don't really want to know them. It
just makes no sense.
Watch that episode of South Park. That's about all I really know.
I don't know anything really going on in the situation. I'm not very informed, so I do not want to talk about this. Just know whatever your opinion is, we respect it. That's it.
Yep. As long as you're a Nuggets fan.
Yep. So we won't talk about that, but we'll just talk about other NBA news. First thing we can talk about, because there's a lot of preseason news, just things in general. Let's talk about the Lakers being dumb.
That's my favorite.
I just think it was funny. The Lakers played their first preseason game against the Warriors. Update, LeBron's wearing the headband again, I guess, but also his hair it somehow got fixed. His hairline's
He
fixed.
spray painted his head. That's basically what happened.
I just don't know how it got fixed, but his headband's way lower than it used to be. Other than that, though, that wasn't the news. That was just a comment. The news was they played the game, they won the game, and then their fucking Twitter account and social media accounts posted, what was it? It was like,
Consider this a warning.
Which was fucking stupid. It's preseason. It's fucking preseason.
Yeah, it was bullshit.
Shut the fuck up.
I mean, are we surprised that a team from Los Angeles...
Okay, not even the Clippers do that, okay?
Well, yeah. Are we surprised that the Lakers are cocky?
The Warriors never did that. And they had like a team of 4 All-Stars. They just have AD and LeBron. I think it's ridiculous. But I also think it's funny because the Bucks, then after their preseason game, posted something that said, consider this a preseason game. And I thought that was funny.
I like how everyone's clapping back.
Our Twitter accounts and social media accounts should do that more. They do not.
They do some funny stuff, though.
Yeah, but they don't really like make those types of jokes and things like that. The best social media accounts in like the NBA are like the Bucks have a good one and the Kings. The Kings have the best one.
Yeah, the Kings one's funny.
If you're not going onto the Kings social media on like Instagram or Facebook, go ahead and go look at it. It's actually pretty fucking hilarious. They do good things. They're like up to date. They definitely have a millennial doing it over there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because they're using memes and shit like that in their posts. But yeah, Lakers, they're just being stupid. But otherwise, we can get into actual preseason news. Zion, he made his debut. He's looking pretty solid. I think he had 26 points in his last game or something like that.
Yeah.
He had 16 in his first one or 14 in his first one. He's looking pretty good. He's shooting efficiently. Most of the shots he's taking are dunks off of pick and rolls with Lonzo. He looks to like have pretty good relationship with Lonzo by playing off the pick and roll. So I feel like that will probably be good for the Pelicans. But what do you think of Zion for so far, the things you saw of him?
He looks good. He looks pretty much unguardable unguardable at the rim. Obviously, I think he's capable of it, but I don't think he's particularly he doesn't have a particularly long range shot.
No.
I don't even know if he's really good at mid range.
He's a fine shooter. He's decent.
But yeah, I mean, so far so good. Like, he looks good. He looks as athletic as everybody knew he was, and now it's obviously translated. So I'm
just like, it's preseason, so obviously the numbers can be a little bit skewed and things like this, and they don't really mean anything. And we're gonna say that a lot, probably. Well, at least I will definitely say that a lot throughout this podcast because yes, preseason helps you get ready for the season and things like that, but I don't really take in too much weight with stuff that goes on during preseason. But you can take in some what I can take at least from his performance so far is he's NBA ready. He's been NBA ready, and we've seen that. He's ready to play in the NBA. His body is ready for it. It's made for it. Now, obviously, he'll probably have struggles throughout the season. He'll probably have like a rookie slump at some point just because getting used to the long schedule. He's never played 82 games ever with all the travel that he's going to have to do. So maybe at some point he'll have slumps. But I mean, he has an NBA ready body. He's ready to go for it. I don't get the people who are calling him fat. There's a band of people online or just people in the league who are calling him fat. I do not think he's fat. I just think he's a hefty boy. It's because he has a lot of muscle and he's just big. I don't think he's fat.
That's just his body.
I don't get why they're calling him fat. But yeah, he looks good. Like I said, he has a good relationship with Lonzo, and he's the first pick. Every first pick looks good for the most part, unless it's Anthony Bennett or Markel Fultz, except for those two in recent memory. There's many more, but except for those two in recent memory, they're usually pretty good in preseason for sure. But yeah, he did good. And then in other NBA news, this was big all over the internet. People lost their fucking minds. Ben Simmons hit a 3-pointer.
Whoa.
And actually hit a 3-pointer. Now, granted, it was against a Chinese team, but he hit it. And my opinion on it is I'm just glad this joke can finally die. It was a funny joke. I thought it was hilarious.
The joke is still alive, though, because
they just made fun of it that he made it. It's still alive.
And I mean, his career NBA 3-point percentage, it's still 0 because that was a preseason game.
Yeah, it's a preseason game. But on preseason, he's 100%. But yeah, the joke's still alive. But hopefully he starts taking them with more confidence. And it looks like he's actually going to start taking them this year if he's like wide open, which is good. I just want these jokes to be that because even with like the Lamar Jackson jokes of him being a running back, which I thought were hilarious, after a while they just got old and I got tired of the joke. And I'm glad those jokes have also died. From my point of it on like a basketball perspective, I think it was pretty sick just to see that it was a deep three. It wasn't even a three like by the line. It was a deep three he just pulled into and just swished it. So good for him. If he develops on that, he'll definitely become one of the best players in the league. Now, how good is it? We don't actually know. It's a small sample size, but I thought it was pretty cool. What do you think of it?
I mean, good for him. I'd like to see him do it again. I hope he shoots them when he's open. Like he said he would, so I assume he will. We'll see how much he's improved on that facet of his game. I mean, yeah, like you said, if he gets even like a decent 3-point shot, then he's going to be one of the best players in the NBA. So it's basically LeBron at that point. So
yeah, it's not even the fact that he has to be good at shooting it. He just has to have the threat of shooting it. You have the threat of shooting it, opens up not only his game for driving, but also his game for driving and kicking out and assisting, since he is one of the better point guards in the league. Because he does basically play point. He does play point guard for them. So I think it's interesting that he's doing it. It's just glad to see that he does it. And just like same thing with Jamal, he also got a huge contract extension this summer. And I think just like Jamal, he took it very seriously to prove all the doubters wrong. And just like with Jamal, I hope Ben Simmons can do it, and I hope Jamal does it too. So we'll see how both of them go. But it's good to see that Ben Simmons at least worked on it. I think he was also tired of those fucking jokes. So
yeah, I don't blame him.
And then on the other hand, another person who usually shoots threes terribly, Giannis, is also looking to improve his 3-point shot so far this preseason. He's currently playing right now when we're recording this, and he was 2 for 3 last I checked from 3. It looks like he's taking it more often. According to reporters at the game, it looks like he is shooting it with confidence. He's not even hesitating, which is good. So what do you think about him also focusing on fixing that?
Again, same thing. If he gets a 3-point shot or the threat of it, then he's already more unstoppable than he pretty much was last year. I mean, if he gets a 3-point shot, it's hard to say that the Bucks won't be making the finals this year.
Yeah, I think it really is going to come down to the East about who has the better 3-point shot, Ben Simmons or Giannis Antetokounmpo. Also, who's better at free throws. For both of them, I haven't checked their free throw percentages and stats to see how they did in preseason, but both of them shoot historically terribly from the free throw line, so a way to stop them when they're driving is to foul them, and they're most likely not going to make free throws. It was kind of part of Toronto's game plan last year. I mean, they also just defended him really well, but it was also part of their game plan. It was definitely a part of their game plan against Ben Simmons. It's just either force them to shoot or make them take free throws. So if those guys can improve on that, they will definitely help their teams. I do think Giannis is a little bit ahead of Ben Simmons, but that's also because Giannis has been in the league a little bit younger than Ben Simmons. Mm-hmm. But we'll see how that goes. I do really think it will come down to that. Did you pull up the stats by chance or no?
For free throws?
Yeah.
So Giannis is 3 for 3 tonight, and he went 6 for 10 in their game against Utah. He went 0 for 3, or 0 for 2, 3-pointers against Utah. I'm pulling up Ben Simmons' right now. Their game just ended. He didn't attempt a 3-pointer today, but he made all 3 of his free throws.
Okay,
So.
well, there we go. So it looks like they are focusing on improving their shots, which is good. And, we don't really have to worry about it because they're in the East. The only time we have to worry about it is if we make the finals. Yeah. Or I should say when we make the finals. Yeah, just believe it. We're going to make it happen by saying it.
Yeah, speak it into existence.
Yeah, that's what we're going to say, baby. But, so there was that mainly for preseason action. There was a lot of other preseason action going on. The Rockets played the Raptors. From that, all I could say is Russ and Harden look to have at least some pretty decent chemistry so far. And then on the Raptors side, Pascal looked pretty good. He's probably going to be an all-star in the East. And Kyle Lowry for them got an extension as well. That was some news that came out. Because apparently if he didn't, he was going to get traded. I'm glad that happened. Any Nuggets fan should be happy because if anyone gets traded, they usually come to the West. So let's be happy he didn't. But yeah, that's mainly it for that type of preseason news. Is there anything in preseason you've watched or anything you want to add on the things I just talked about?
Unless it's Nuggets related, I don't have anything.
Yeah, well, for the preseason, for the most part, we're mainly focused more on the Nuggets and things like that. There is still some just little kind of things to talk about with news-wise. One of the major things was Lonzo said, because someone asked him about his brother, he said that LaMelo could be better than him. I didn't go into the full article, but I'm just assuming that he was being a nice big brother and saying, yeah, my brother's good at basketball. We're our whole family except for LiAngelo. Is that the middle one? Yeah, except for him are good.
Pretty much.
But yeah, I've always been a proponent that LaMelo was always a better prospect, even when they were not even in the league. But
when he said that, the first thing that came to my mind was, is that really going to be that hard? It's kind of a dick thing to say, but I different stand types of by players. It.
Like, Lonzo's more of a playmaker, where LaMelo's more of a scorer. Like, they're different players. I do think that if they played 1v1 with each other, which they definitely do because they're brothers, I think LaMelo wins every time. I don't think Lonzo wins. Maybe Lonzo wins just because he is very good defensively. Lonzo is one of the better defenders in the NBA. We have to give him his credit, and I'm assuming LaMelo's probably terrible at defense. But LaMelo's really good at scoring and putting the ball in the basket. And he's been killing it in Australia so far and proving that he can play with professionals who've been in that league for a very long time. So, he's doing a good job over there. But other than that, news-wise, the last thing is basically Kyrie Irving exited practice again because he fucked up his face again. I don't know if he just got hit in the face or what happened, but he re-aggravated that face injury. So maybe he might miss a couple games going into the regular season if it's really bad. I don't know how it's going to go. No matter what, he's probably going to have to wear that mask for a really long time. So just think it's weird. Hopefully that doesn't happen to any of our players. But I don't know. I just thought it'd be interesting to give that news.
It's kind of weird that he keeps getting injured in the face, which just seems pretty rare,
Yeah, I don't know if he's doing moves or just causing him to get hit in the face. I don't know what's happening in their practices, but he's fucked up his face quite a bit. And then the last preseason news that won't be mainly focused around us will be about Steph. I think Steph's definitely going for this MVP because it's fucking preseason. He got 40 in preseason.
Jeez.
He got 40 in their second preseason game. I think he's definitely going for the MVP because I think he wants to also, same with like LeBron, prove to people why he was considered at one point the best player in the league. And he has definitely an opportunity to do so because he doesn't have to sacrifice anymore because KD's gone and no one's on that team as of right now because Klay's out and also they're very top heavy. So, what do you think about Steph going on a rampage?
I could see it happening. As far as like my MVP picks, he could definitely get it. He's up there.
He is there. He's definitely up top. We will get into MVP at some point, folks. Next week It's our NBA projection episode, baby. Standing predictions, award predictions. Make sure to tune in for sure because that's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Phil might have a surprising pick for you every now and then. You never know.
I can guarantee it.
Nah, he definitely doesn't. Phil doesn't have any hot takes.
I will have one, maybe.
Right.
We'll see. I haven't thought about it yet.
We'll see if you'll take a shot for that hot take, Phil. Will you? We'll get into it.
Tune in next
week on Dragon. No. But yeah, so that's mainly it for most of it. Other than obviously the China news that I just don't want to get into. So now we'll get into actually the most important news of the week. Your Denver Nuggets played 2 preseason games, baby. And they were fun to watch for sure. It's still preseason, so it's boring, and there was a lot of mistakes that happened.
Pretty
it's
sloppy.
Preseason. There's sometimes when they put in the scrubs where it's just turnover after turnover after turnover, but that's what you expect going into preseason games. But we will talk about the first preseason game against the Trailblazers. First off, I just want to say, Jesus Christ, I hated that it was 70s night.
Oh,
and
no,
I hate that we had to deal with them talking about fucking Terry Scott's outfit every fucking second. I got it after the first time.
Shut up about it. It was really obnoxious.
I hope every other Nuggets fan feels that way. I hope literally anyone feels that way. It got annoying after a while. We get it. He was wearing 70s clothes to pay homage to their 50 years.
We understood the bit the moment they said it on in the first 10 seconds of the game.
Yeah,
so
we got it. It was good. Mike Malone made a good comment on it. He's like, I'm trying to coach here, but instead I'm seeing Terry Scott's chest hair, and I didn't want that. I thought that was funny. I like that Mike Malone could have fun with it. But after a while, it was just like they talked about it every second. I get it's preseason. They don't have things to talk about, but Jesus, it got so annoying.
Yeah.
But anyways, to the game. We won 105-94. We had, some couple standout players. What we're going to do from now on, even going into the regular season, we'll always hand out an MVP for a game and then go into some of the stats and what we saw. For the MVP of the game, my pick for sure was one of our new boys, Jerami Grant. I think he did fucking excellent, and he definitely made me so happy that Trey Lyles is gone. I am ecstatic that we actually have a backup power forward who can pick and pop and hit threes. He didn't do so good in the second game, which we'll get into, but he did great in that game. He had 13 points. He was 5 for 8 and 3 for 5 from 3, which is most important. He did have 4 turnovers, however, but then again, it's preseason. We're going to be pretty sloppy with the ball. And he also had 2 blocks, so looking like he's going to help us with rim protection as well. So I was ecstatic of everything I saw of him. How did you feel of everything you saw? Was he your MVP as well?
My MVP was actually Paul Millsap, but kind of take your pick. They were by far the 2 best players on the Nuggets that game, with Jamal struggling, and we'll get in. And
the game was playing highlights
with Jamal struggling and Malik struggling a little bit. But yeah, Jerami Grant fits super well with this team, and his defense I think is going to help tremendously when we have to play the Clippers and the Lakers of the world.
Yeah, for the Western Conference Finals, obviously.
Exactly.
We're going to speak this into existence.
But, yeah, Millsap and Grant were both really good in that game.
Yes. I do think Millsap was great in that game. Millsap, I just think it's just because he's a veteran. He just used to plop him in. He was ready to go. Yeah, but the thing that did surprise me was 100% from 3 and 100% from free throw from Millsap.
Yeah. Which
is great, especially the free throws.
He was efficient, and that's all you can ask for from a non-superstar. Will Barton.
All right, just relax. We'll get into the Will Barton stuff later. We can't harp on it all the time. Some people actually like him.
Well,
don't know why, but
you're wrong.
We can't say that, Phil.
I said it.
All right, fine. I won't.
I won't hide how I feel about Will Barton. I've made it clear. Right. Everybody knows
we'll get into it.
Sorry. All right, next.
But yes, I do think we're very solid at the power forward position this year. We don't have to make random small forwards play power forward in the small lineup. We actually have a backup power forward. Now, for those people who saw him play like that and say, hey, maybe we should start Jerami at the 3, I say no to that, because then again, we have no backup power forward. Yeah. He's young, but I don't want him to play that many fucking minutes. I feel like he'll just get exhausted and burnt out and possibly injured going into the season. Don't want that. I'd rather he just come off the bench and help give us a boost off the bench. And now we'll go into all of the other starters. We'll go into Jamal first. Jamal was 3 for 10, 0 for 2 from 3. He shot 4 for 4 from the free throw line, which is good. I want him to stay either at 90 or 100% from there. Had 10 points, 2 assists, 3 steals, 3 turnovers. It was a very quiet 10 points. I didn't actually know he had 10 points, but I guess most of it came from the free throws and the floaters that he hit. Still very good at floaters. He did miss a lot of shots, though. Very inefficient. But it's preseason. You can't really take too much from it. But what did you see from Jamal in that first game against Portland?
I think it might have been a little bit of rust, and yeah, he was inefficient. He didn't really. You couldn't really feel his impact. So hopefully he does better. That's all. Yeah. Hopefully he'll improve.
Yeah, hopefully he'll improve. I think he will. I think it's preseason. It's early. He'll probably, and maybe like we talked about before, I think Jamal needs to get hyped to play a basketball game, and maybe preseason's just not enough to get him, super excited to play like extremely well as of right now. And also, it's not like he got a ton of minutes that he'll be getting compared to an actual NBA game. He only got 22. Same with most of our starters. They were around that 20 range, except for the small forward position, which we will get into as it is a big thing here. But we'll go into our next starter, which for that night was Mason Plumlee, since Nikola Jokic did sit out of this game for resting because he played in the World Cup. We wanted to make sure he's fresh and ready to go for a regular season, so we gave him this game off. Plumlee from this game had pretty solid performance for only playing 19 minutes. 6 points, 3 assists, 5 rebounds. They were all defensive. He did have 3 turnovers. Again, everyone on this team had kind of a lot of turnovers. It's a preseason game. It's just going to happen. Sloppy basketball at the beginning. We won't really probably get away with this turnover issue until hopefully late November. That's hopefully when we'll be done with it, but I feel like it's going to last for a while for most teams because it's just preseason. It's bad, and you're getting used to the game and everything like that. But what do you think of Plumlee in this game, at least? I thought he was just solid. That's all I really have to say.
He's been solid. He's been aggressive, and he hit 2 out of 4 of his free throws in this game, which
get that up.
I'll take it.
No, get that up. I don't want that there. Get that up.
What, you want 3 for 4?
Yeah.
I mean, 75%. That seems like a lot.
Okay, but just try, man. Just try, or change the rule to the G League thing and just make it so he only has to make 1 for 2. But yeah, no. I do not actually want that rule. Just so people know, I think that's a dumb rule because it rewards big men like Mason Plumlee who can't shoot free throws. Exactly. I don't think it's a good rule, but we'll see how that goes in G League. Then we'll get into shooting guard position. My boy, person I'm very fond of, Gary Harris, didn't have that great of a night. 2 for 5. He was 1 for 1 from 3. He had 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 2 turnovers, and 5 points. He only played 22 minutes, so again, not going to have like amazing stats. But I don't know, from Gary, I just saw him just trying to get his legs going and trying to help out, just run the offense and do just Gary things. He was still good defensively, but I don't know. There's not really much I have to add on Gary's performance just because, I don't know. I feel like him and Jamal are just ready for the regular season. Like, they're obviously going to taking these games seriously to help, get some prep and, get their legs going, but I don't think they're like fully into it, these two. Yeah. Which is not a bad thing.
They're not quite locked in. That's not the worst thing.
Just it's not a bad thing. It's preseason. I'm not locked in.
Yeah. I mean,
like, we were watching, you were playing your Switch, and I was like looking up things on my phone. Like,
we were. There's only really one point in these games where I really perked up, and
which
we will get to
getting into now. So now we'll get into the big thing of all of our preseason games as of right now, our big ass small forward battle. We have a small forward battle with basically 4 of our small forwards between Will Barton, Torrey Craig, Juancho, and MPJ. How Mike Malone went about it is he basically teased our balls because he knew what everyone wanted to see, but he was like, nah, not in the first quarter. Oh, you fought in the second? Nah, not even in the second quarter. Oh, third quarter? Okay, here he is, like towards the end. He put MPJ in there towards the end, but what it was is I'm assuming we're going with a game plan of, which kind of changed in the second game, but we're going with a game plan of we'll give minutes, like a specific set amount of minutes to each one of these small forwards, see what they do with it. Whoever performs best out of that will probably get the small forward position. So on the game against Portland, we started with Will Barton. Then we went to Juancho we went with Torrey Craig more in the second quarter. Then Juancho like in the third, MPJ in the fourth. The mixture of those guys in between of those quarters, obviously. Yeah. But that's kind of how like the flow of it went. And we'll go into each of their performances. We'll obviously start off with the starter, Will Barton. He was 3 for 7, 0 for 3 from the line. I mean, not from the line, from 3-point line, 1 for 1 from free throws. He had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, no turnovers. He was only starter, had no turnovers, and he had 7 points. What do you think of his first? Oh God, it's gonna get into a big rant. What do you think of his first performance?
No. I actually thought Will Barton was inefficient, yes, slightly.
That's
but
Will Barton.
But
he doesn't have to be efficient.
He was pretty solid against Portland. I actually was like, oh, Will Barton's playing pretty well tonight. That was my impression from that game. Yeah, I thought he was pretty solid against Portland.
The only issue I have with Will Barton is his 3-point shot still doesn't look great, and he still takes bad 3-point shots every now and then when the clock's running out. But then again, Jamal still does that too, so it's fine. And he's not supposed to be our efficient player. He's supposed to just get buckets and try to be around 10 points at least or something there, hopefully higher, but just get buckets. Don't Wilson Chandler this and get this flat 0 out there. But yeah, I thought he had a fine performance that night. I think it was impressive that he had 0 turnovers because he does play point guard too every now and then, or at least he brings the ball up the court and runs the offense. So I think it's impressive that he had 0 turnovers. Next, we'll go into the person who came in after, Torrey Craig. He had a big fat donut, 0 points. He only shot 1 shot. It was a 3-pointer that he missed. But overall, defensively, he still looked good. He had 5 rebounds and 1 block. There's not much I really have to say on Torrey Craig. I do wish he was shooting it a little bit more to prove that he needs to be the starter. I don't think that helped his case at all.
I think we'll get into why I think it did I think it hurt his case, to be honest. We'll get into that.
I just don't know what happened.
I'll just say it right now. Torrey Craig did not play against the Clippers.
He did not, which was interesting, which we will get into. I don't know why that was the case. Maybe there was a report that came out or something like that, or a comment about it, but I do not know why that happened. But yeah, Torrey Craig from that, pretty meh performance, to be honest, and it was kind of unfortunate. Then again, he only played 8 minutes. Of all of the small forwards, he played the least minutes. Juancho played more, and my MPJ played more. But I don't know, maybe it's because secretly, maybe we're thinking he is the best option for starter or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe they're just maybe Malone knows what he's getting out of Torrey, so he doesn't feel like the need to play him. Yeah,
I don't know what's going on. Malone did some weird things going on in that game, but yeah, from Torrey, otherwise mainly pretty meh performance. I mean, he played good D, he got rebounds, he plays his role well. That's all I can say with Torrey from that. And then in the third quarter, our boy Juancho came in, and like I said with Juancho on the last podcast, all we've been hearing is praise about his jump shot. He's doing really well. He's killing it in practice. And then all of a sudden he comes out and he has a 2-point performance. I don't know what's going on with Juancho. I'm starting to get scared that maybe he's only a practice player. I don't know. I'm not trying to really dig in on this kid, but if he's not performing well, we either gotta get rid of him because we're not giving him a contract extension, or we just have to let him walk this summer. So and he had a comment that he talked about he knows what his role is on this team. He's gonna stay on this role. It's more about helping this team win, which is fine. But this is not the time for staying in your role. You should try to
in preseason you should
show what you can do.
Yep.
That position is open, even for him. It's open, so he should fight for it. But otherwise, he was 0 for 3 from the 3-point line. All of his shots were 3-pointers. He missed all of them. 2 for 2 from free throw. Those were his only 2 points. He had 3 assists, 3 steals, only 1 turnover, 3 rebounds. I will say this: he does look better defensively. He doesn't look like he's getting bodied around anymore as much. But I don't know. I was not very pleased with that performance, especially after all the praise I heard before going into that game. What did you think?
Yep, I'm pretty much there with you. He looked bad. Let's just be honest. He looked bad in that game. Still early. Still more games to play.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Figures it out. I don't know. That was just very weird. But yeah, maybe we'll figure it out. We'll see how it goes.
And we'll get to it, but he was solid against the Clippers, so we'll get into that.
And then we'll get into MPJ, our boy. He finally came in the fourth quarter. I don't know why it took, end of the third quarter. I don't know why it took so long for him to come in. Even at some point, the reporters were like, is this guy going to play? What's going on? People want to see him play. He did end up playing. He played 17 minutes, and I'm going to hold it a little bit, but he looked good. He looked really, really good. But I'm going to hold it because it's preseason. It doesn't actually matter. But my God, did that kid look good? I'll let you give your initial thoughts of his performance.
I'll give more of my thoughts when we talk about the Clippers game.
Okay, well then we'll just go into the stats. He was 4 for 7. He didn't make a 3. But he took 1, but he missed. He was 1 for 2 from the free throw line, which was alarming. But he only took 2 shots, so small sample size. Who knows how he is actually with free throws? I'm assuming he's actually good. He might just have nerves.
I bet he is.
He had 9 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 personal fouls, but no steals, blocks, or anything like that, or turnovers. I thought it was really great. The two things that I see mainly from him is that he's not afraid to shoot. He trusts his shot. He's really good in it. Like the first play that he had that wasn't the travel that happened was like the travel play that stopped him from getting his first play. It was the first play he took and he had the ball. He just took a step back and shot it, and it was contested, and he just drained that shit. Mm-hmm. So like I'm glad that he's not afraid to shoot even after being gone for so long, and he's still aggressive with trying to score. The other thing I've seen of him so far in these 2 games is also that he is very active on the offensive rebounding side. Now, he hasn't really got any, but if you pay attention during games, anytime he's on the court and someone shoots it, he goes for the offensive rebound. People are just boxing him out. I think this kid loves putting it back in, like slamming it in or just putting it back in. He always goes for it. Like, I swear to God, just look at it. He always goes for it. I was really fond of how he did. I'm going to hold my praise because, again, it's preseason. It means nothing really. But it was just good to see that he was not afraid of the moment. He wasn't really that nervous, and he was willing to shoot when he had to shoot. And even then, it wasn't like he took one really dumb shot, but he made it, which wasn't even his first shot. It was another one that it was like a step back by the baseline he took, and that was a really dumb shot, but he fucking drained that shit.
Drained it.
But yeah, I mean, he's still playing within his role. He's still passing the ball. Like, I actually always wish he shoots more in these games, but he's staying within the role. He's staying within the offense, doing what's asked of him. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah. One of our buddies, he after the game, he texted me and he just sent me MPJ side eye emoji, and then he just said butter.
It's true, dude. His shot is a little wet as fuck. Like, it's really just really good. And everyone has said in interviews and stuff he has the best shot on the team, like the most clean shot and things like that. So I think the sky is only up from here. Like, sky's the limit for this kid. He's got to work on it, gain that confidence back. I still think he looked kind of slow in this game. I don't think he fully has his legs back.
He looked rusty.
Yeah, I don't think he fully has his legs back, but he did good. And then we'll get into the other 2 bench players we got. Monte, again, solid. He had 12 points, 4 for 8, 1 for 3 from 3-point line, 4 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 rebounds, 2 rebounds. So Monte, again, solid as always. Love Monte Morris. Can't speak even more highly of him than I already do. And then Malik Beasley is definitely trying to get paid, which we'll get more into definitely the next game. But even in this game, he played really well. He had 12 points. Didn't shoot super well, 4 for 11, and 2 for 6 from 3. Which is fine. Like, he doesn't. Again, he's coming off the bench. He doesn't need to be a really efficient guy. Like overall, he does for 3-point shots, but not like overall.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I really like how Malik played in that one. Overall, I think that game went really well. I think our defense looked great. Our offense looked kind of sluggish to start, but again, we're beginning of the season. It's gonna look kind of slow to start, especially if you don't play Jokic, because Jokic does run most of our offense. So. But I think our defense looked really, really, really good. And also, we're going to start this on the podcast. There's the rule of 69 that I really believe in, and that is whenever whichever team scores 69 first is going to win that game. And I will say that this is at least 90% correct. And I want anyone who's listening to this podcast to pay attention to that and see, because you will see that it's true. The power of 69 is very, very powerful, because we hit 69 first in this game and we fucking won. And we also did that in our next game, which we will now get into. In our next game, we played the Clippers. Kawhi played for a bit. He hit a 3 on us like right away. It was not a good start for that game. But we still ended up winning by 20. We won 111-91. Montrezl Harrell was kind of fucking up Jokic every now and then just because he's very athletic, which was something that was kind of scary to see because, again, this is going to be the Western Conference Finals. Get ready for it, people. I'm speaking it into existence. But for my MVP for this game, it's definitely Malik. Malik was Malik went on a 10-0 stretch by himself. Like, it was insane. Malik just went off. He's trying to get paid. Who was your MVP for this game?
I mean, it was obviously Malik, but just for just to be different, I'm gonna say it was MPJ. He scored 12 points in 12 minutes.
12 points.
He was cutting. He was making beautiful cuts. I would like to see a little more of that jump shot, but we'll get there. We'll see it.
Yeah, I think, again, he's trying to stay within the offense.
Yeah, I'll just get into it now. MPJ is one of the most talented young guys in the NBA. After I saw that game, I think that's probably true.
I think offensively, yeah.
Yeah, defensively, he has a long ways to go. But he puts that effort in, and that's all you can ask from a 21-year-old.
So that helps.
Yeah, he's long. He can only go up on defense, which is good. I think he will. I think he'll get better. He has that athleticism and that ability.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude's just a scorer. Once he still doesn't have his legs back, and he was yamming quite a bit in that game. So
yeah, I mean, he blew past one guy and got a dunk pretty easily. I'm very fond of everything I've seen of him. Again, I'm gonna hold my roll on it because it's preseason. It means nothing.
We'll wait. But
the first game, he was going up against Nasir Little, who I'm a UNC fan, so I knew of Nasir very well. He's a terrible defender. I equate him very similarly to Kenneth Faried. So if you want to, God damn it, keep playing highlights. If you want to equate that, you're right. If you want to equate that to, that's how you equate that to his defensive level. It's Kenneth Faried's defensive level. But I mean, he still scored on him when he could, so that's a good thing. He's he's aggressive. He's always looking to score and get a bucket, but he's not too aggressive to the point where it hurts the offense, which is good.
He looks solid. He looks good. I'm excited to see him play more minutes.
I think Malik is definitely trying to get paid. That's all I've realized from these past two games. Malik he wants that fucking bag, and if he keeps playing like this, I'll fucking give him that bag. I'll tell you what. Yeah. He had 16 points. He was 6 for 8, 1 of 2 from 3, and 3 for 3 from free throw. He also had 2 assists, 6 rebounds, and 1 steal. Another thing for Malik that I didn't talk about in the last game, and I'll talk about here, his defense has vastly improved. And that game, just seeing it, he looks locked down on the defensive end. Malik Beasley so far. Again, preseason, so I'll hold my roll, but he looked great so far.
So speaking of Malik, I think it's time we talk about someone else we haven't talked about yet. Gary Harris is struggling.
You want to start Malik over Gary?
No, but he's not yet. He is 4 from 12 from the field with 9 turnovers in 2 games. He had 7 turnovers against the Clippers.
Yes.
He's off to a less than stellar start. That can get better. He's not really coming off injury, but it's early. I'm not saying bench him now, I'm not even saying bench him. I think he should start, and I think he will start, but we need to see a better Gary Harris once we play the Trailblazers on opening night.
Again, if Malik does start balling out, yes, I'm okay if Malik starts over.
Yeah.
But we'll see. That we need more of a sample size.
Yeah, we'll wait on that.
More of a regular season sample size.
So let's just get the good out of the way a little bit, real quick.
Jokic still looks fucking great.
Jokic looks great. Millsap was super solid again.
3-point was a little bit worse this game for Millsap, but still super solid.
Yeah, Monte was good. Plumlee looked awesome.
Amazing. Plumlee was one of the hidden gems of this game, mainly because of his passing ability. He had 6 assists.
He had some great passes.
And they were some great passes. He should have actually had a couple more. Juancho dropped a few. MPJ dropped a few, but it's mainly because I feel like those guys aren't ready to always be ready for a pass. They're not used to that yet.
Yeah.
But with these two centers, you got to be ready always to get a pass.
And Juancho was solid in this game too. Jerami Grant struggled, but you could see his impact on defense.
Juancho was solid, but he didn't have a good 3-point shot.
Yeah.
1 for 4. And that's the main thing for Juancho is you got to be a good 3-pointer.
And Grant struggled, but you could feel his impact on defense.
Yeah.
We're like trees when we have a lineup of
we have a very long team. Even our
Grant
point guard
and MPJ.
Our point guard is very tall. Our starting point guard is our smallest player. I'm pretty sure that we play at least is Monte.
Yeah.
And he's still 6'3".
Yeah, and he's still a solid and he's a solid perimeter defender.
Yeah, and he's still 6'2", 6'3". I think Monte's pretty tall. Let me look that up. But I'm pretty sure Monte's pretty tall. Let's see. He's 6'3", and I think he's our shortest player.
Yeah, I think he is. All right. Are you ready?
And then we'll get. And let's see. Did we say everyone?
I think we talked about it. Jokic was good. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we did Jokic. We did that. Jokic looked good. I do want to add this. He looked like he had a wrap on his wrist.
Mhm.
I haven't heard of anything surrounding him about an injury, but I am assuming that he injured his wrist because it's not like a wristband. It was actually a wrap. So hopefully he's doing okay, and that's not a major issue. I mean, he played, so I think it's fine. But if it is something that we need to worry about, I would tell Malone to rest him.
Yeah,
for sure.
I bet we see Jokic maybe one more time in the preseason.
And then we haven't talked about Vanderbilt. I think out of all the people who we know like won't play, I think he's one of the more important ones to talk about. He had a good first game. He had a really bad second game. He did not do really good in this one, but he had way less minutes in this one compared to the one before. So we'll see how he goes. He's a working project.
Yeah, and Vlatko,
but now we can get into your rant.
So there's two things I want to talk about before I get into my rant. First off, Vlatko Kankar, he did not look good. Kanchar, sorry. Charmander. He did not look very good. He's really young, but all I really noticed is that he's really tall. One of my friends texted me saying, "You want to know the difference? You want to know what me and Vlatko have in common?" Says we're both just some guy. So that
he's just not ready for the NBA yet. He's definitely going to G League with like Bol and PJ Dozier and everyone else. And I fucking hate PJ Dozier because PJ Dozier just comes in, takes every fucking shot, and really wants to make our team, and he's not going to.
There's
so I want
not
to
a place for him. He'll maybe find a job. I don't know. He's been kind of bad.
I mean, he's been fine. I just don't like him on our team. We don't need him. We have Monte and Jamal, so it doesn't make sense. What was your other thing, though?
So my other thing has to do with Jokic. If you look up his stats, compared last season to the season before, he had a scoring jump from 18 to 20 points per game. But if you look at his 3-point percentage, it's like 9% difference. I got the numbers here now. He shot 30.7% in 2018 and 39.6% in 2017, but still up to scoring 2%. If Jokic can even up his 3-point percentage by like 5%, that's another 4 or 5 points to his averages. And you're talking about a 25-point per game scorer.
Yeah.
So if he can just make a few more consistently, then that's pretty scary, especially with everything else that he brings to the table.
For sure. No, I definitely think that like even the other night's game against the Clippers, he only took one 3-point shot, which is just like the one he naturally takes at the top key. He just pulls up. He missed it, but like it's preseason, so obviously he's not going to take a lot. I think if he just takes at least like 3 or 4 a game, that'd be good, like consistently. And obviously good shots, not like toss up terrible shots. But yeah, even if he starts getting those, he can get around the 24, 25, 26 point range. That'd be good. I think as long as he increases his total, it'll be good. But like we would want that for all of the guys too, Jamal and Gary. Like we said, we talked about Gary's struggles. Yeah. And hopefully, like he'll figure that out. But I'm not too worried about Jokic, and I think that is an interesting stat because he doesn't shoot a lot of threes, but he's one of the better big men who can shoot. Yeah. So I think he'll shoot more and he'll try to do more. I mean, in the Serbia series, like when he was playing the World Cup, he was doing pretty good for that. So I think he's going to start taking more. But now we can get into this long rant. Go ahead and talk about your Will Barton rant of the week.
Here's my Will Barton rant of the week. I think we're going to be pretty much due for one a week if he plays poorly.
I'm going to try to be devil's advocate here, but go ahead.
So Will Barton was... let me pull up the stats. So he was...
You liked him at the start of that Clippers game.
At the beginning of the Clippers game, I was thinking, wow, this guy, he's playing well. He's like, wow, Will Barton looks healthy again. He looked pretty good against Portland, and then he just fell off the face of the earth against the Clippers. He shot, let me pull this up.
I think it was like 3 for 11.
He shot 3 for 11 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. If Will Barton's going to be chucking up shots and bricking more than half of them, he needs to get me at least 10 points, and he's gotten 7 both of the last 2 games. Health isn't an excuse anymore. He's been healthy. He played well in the Portland series. There's no excuse for Will Barton to be playing like this, especially if he's going to be our starter, which I think it's very clear that I do not want him to be that. I would much prefer that we trade him, free up the cap space, extend Malik, and maybe even try and figure out a way to re-sign Jerami Grant. I don't know exactly his contracts. I think he only has one more year on his deal.
Who, Jerami?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I think our money could be going in a much more beneficial place.
Jerami has one more year. Millsap has one more year. Plumlee has one more year. All those guys have one more year. Technically, Juancho and Malik also have one more year, but there's a possibility to make those guys restricted as well.
If you get rid of Will Barton, you can just extend Malik. So.
Yeah, I know. That's what we're talking about. But, I mean, Malik, it's preseason, man. We can't judge him too far so far. It's the small sample size. Granted, I agree with you, but I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. For the most part, he had a bad game, but he's not supposed to be a guy who's supposed to be efficient. He's just supposed to be a guy who can at least get 10 points a game. Now, granted,
but he's not doing that.
Yeah, I know. Granted, it's been a long point since he's done that. He did it in the Portland series, but he didn't do it for most of last season. But who knows what's going on in that position? Because Torrey Craig didn't even play at all in this game.
Yeah, that's what.
And I didn't get any word of why. I've looked into it and I couldn't find anything about why he didn't. It was just coach's decision. They didn't let Torrey play. I don't know if maybe it was because he was doing training camp at Team USA and they wanted him to rest too. I don't really know what the idea around that was. Maybe they just wanted to see more out of Juancho because Juancho did end up playing 20 minutes that game. Same with Will Barton, so maybe that was why. I don't really know. Maybe Torrey Craig already has the job and we don't know, and we're just trying to see if Will Barton should have the job or Torrey should have the job. I don't know what's going on with that Torrey Craig situation. But yeah, Will Barton, like I said, I think it's too early to start bringing out the torches for him. It's only been a couple preseason games. The sample size pretty low. He did have a semi-good Portland series. He had an overall bad year last year, I know, an overall bad time against the Spurs. But I think it's possible for him to still maybe bring it back around. I think it's too early to bring out just the pickaxes and everything for him and Gary at this point. But
I agree with that. I will say, as far as Will Barton goes, is that it's too early, but he better have a short leash because he hasn't exactly been great outside of that Portland series over the last year. So
yeah, we just got to figure it out from there. But we'll see how it goes. I think it's just too early to get into that. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. So we still got 2 preseason games left for him to see what he does and then also see what Malone keeps doing with a small forward position competition. I'll put air quotes around competition because I don't know what this really is. But yeah, we'll see how it goes in the next game against Phoenix and then the last game against the Trailblazers. But now we'll get into our topic. We'll talk about, this is our last week of talking about one starter, one bench player, and what they need to improve on before we do our season projections for next week. Definitely tune into that. We'll do standing predictions, award predictions. We're just trying to definitely touch on all of those. Maybe have some hot takes. Wink, wink. No. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe Phil will. Maybe I will. Who knows? Probably not Phil. Phil's a loser.
Full of hot takes.
Phil doesn't have any hot takes. He's cold as fuck.
MPJ, MVP.
I thought you were going to say rookie of the year, but okay. But yeah, now we'll get into the topic. So we're going to focus this week on Jokic and Jerami Grant. Jerami Grant being the newbie. But we'll go into Jokic first. Phil, what's one thing you think he should improve on other than defense? Because we all know that's a pretty obvious one. We want to try to spice it up a bit.
Yeah. I'm going to say cut down on the turnovers. We all know how gifted of a pass Jokic is. And sometimes he kind of takes that too far and gets a little loosey-goosey with his passes. And sometimes he just chucks them out of bounds or
against the
gets
Clippers.
stripped. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think just take care of the ball a little bit more. If he can, it's not like he turns over the ball a lot, but we've seen him
just get a better assist to turnover ratio.
Yeah,
basically.
We all know that Jokic face he makes when he makes a bad pass.
Yeah,
so
and he fouls and then he complains to the ref and he doesn't want to run back.
Exactly. So yeah, cut down on that, and then obviously the defense, and yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with him. He's pretty much good at everything else.
Yeah, I mean, he's our best player, so it's kind of hard to come up with stuff for him. But one thing I have for him, and I think he fixed it going into the playoffs last year. He kind of struggled with it in the first couple games against the Spurs. But the thing with Jokic is he always goes on stints where he's not aggressive and he doesn't shoot and he's not being our best player, or he's just not being aggressive and looking to score. And I need him to always focus on scoring the ball. I don't know if people remember this last year, but towards the beginning of the season, we were going on a good streak, and then he says some, derogatory terms. He said no homo. I mean, I make that what you will, but he got fined $50,000. I don't know what happened, if that actually affected him or not. But after he said that, he went like 2 weeks without shooting the ball really, and we lost like a lot of games during that time that we should have won.
That was frustrating.
If he just tried harder, and also hurt his stats and even maybe his MVP case last year too. So. I mean, and then there's other instances as well where he goes on like little stints where he's just not really looking to score the ball. He's not looking to really be an aggressor. And I just think like, yes, even though he can affect the games in other ways, like rebounding, passing, steals, just being Jokic basically, I think if he can just focus on that more and stay more consistent with being around, like, you said, if he shot a couple more threes, he could be around 25, 26 range. If he could just do that a little bit better, I think it would really help him out. So yeah, that's all. I mean, all I really have for him.
I think he just needs to get that alpha mentality more often than not. Just know you're the best player on the team, and know that we need you to score at least 20 a game for the most part, or at least around there. Yeah. And I want you to at least take at least like 10 shots a game. Like sometimes he didn't even do that in games that he played, and sometimes it's just gonna happen where teams are really focusing on letting him do it. But like as long as I see he's trying to, that's all I care. And like we all know, the best part about his game is his distributing, and if Jamal or Gary or whoever is on one, then we don't need him to score 20. But if no one's really taking over the game, then that's where we have to defer to Jokic to go take over the game.
And again, I saw him do it more in the playoffs last year. I mean, we talked about it multiple times. He's had one of the most historic playoffs. He averaged numbers only LeBron, Wilt, and Oscar, and one other person, I think Magic, someone like that, averaged in a playoff run, and that was his first time ever in the playoffs. So that's pretty amazing and very, very good to see. So we'll see how he improves on that as we go forward. And then we'll get into Jerami Grant. I had to do a lot of research on Jerami Grant, so that's why we waited till now to start doing things on Jerami. I know you didn't, so I'll just go into what he needs to improve on.
Just go.
But Jerami Grant has improved mildly in the past 4 years that he's been in the NBA. Even last year, I think he got kind of snubbed for being in the MIP conversation. Now, I don't think he should have won it, but I do think he should have been in the conversation. Last year, he went from the year before when he gained 8 points a game to 13 points a game. He also went from only shooting 29% from three to shooting nearly 40% from three, which I think are huge increases. He also went from taking only 5 shots a game to taking 10, and then he made 5 of those shots. So he was around 50%. He's efficient. He got better defensively, and also his free throw percentage has increased every year he's been in the NBA since like 4 years ago. 4 years ago, he was at like 35%. Then he went to 53. Oh, wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong thing. 4 years ago, he was at 50%. Then he went to 62%. Then he went to 68. And then last year, he was at 71. So every year, he's gotten better at free throw shooting. And I assume that trend is going to stay this year. I assume he'll be around the 74 to 75 mark. So like with Monte, I think he's very much in like that solid range.
He's a very solid player.
Like he's just solid at everything. He's good defensively. He's a rim protector for like as much as he can be for his size. He scores. He knows his role. He knows how to play on the pick and pop. The one thing that was the issue, and I realized that he can improve on, is since he played with Russell Westbrook, he didn't really touch the ball much after like before 22 seconds in the shot clock, really. So he doesn't really have a lot of experience playing in a ball movement type of offense because, he was with Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook likes the ball a lot in his hands, where we like to spread it as much as we can.
A lot,
So, and that results in him also having very low assist numbers. And I'm not saying he needs to have really high assist numbers, but I do think this is a thing he can improve on. He only had 1 assist last year, and below that any years prior. If he can just get to like 2 or 3 a game, or just be able to, have a high enough IQ. Sorry about that. To have a high enough IQ to just know when to make the right pass and when to give it to the open person and things like that. I think that's just all he needs to improve on. Just learning our system and learning how to pass efficiently and effectively for open shots and things like that. To maybe get assists and even things like that.
Yeah.
But that's mainly all I have for him. For the most part, even from the preseason games we saw, even though against the Clippers he didn't do that well, but against the Blazers he did amazing. I just think he fits really well on the team, and I only see him getting better and better as we go. The more and more
he's a really solid fit, and like he didn't have a great game against the Clippers, but he still played pretty good defense, which is cool to see. Yeah, I'm excited to see him.
And like the thing with him is like he's the only one who has to learn our playbook. No one else. Everyone else already knows it. Has been in it for like at least 2 to 4 years, 2 to 5 years, 2 to 6 even maybe. No, Gary's in his 5th year, I think. Yeah, Gary's our longest tenure player. It's always weird to me.
That's crazy.
But yeah, like so he's the only one who has to learn the playbook. So like obviously it's gonna take him time to adjust to plays and gain understanding of how everything works. So I think he'll only get better and better as we go through the season. But that's everything I have for him. Is there anything else you have to say?
Just like I don't know, just like kind of going on what you said. Just like he needs to learn the playbook and learn how to play more with the ball in his hands a little bit and a little more like passing around. But I was just gonna say like he turned over the ball sometimes, but again, like that's just because he's new. His second game.
He's learning. Yeah. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But that's all we have for these two guys. So yep, that topic's done for the most part. We talked about everyone. For the guys that we didn't talk about, it's mainly because we don't think they'll be major guys in our rotation for the moment. And then MPJ, even though we do think he will be, we have no clue what he can improve on because we haven't seen much. Yeah. Even with just 2 preseason games, all we can tell is he just needs to get his legs back and play better defense from what we heard. But yeah, so that's all we have for that. We still got 2 preseason games left. We have a preseason game against the Suns and then one against the Blazers like 2 days before the regular season opener. I think that one will be like the closest we get to an actual regular season game this preseason.
Which will be kind of weird.
Yeah, I think both of those teams are going to try very hard. And not like very hard to win, but I think they're going to use the closest to their actual rotation for like the regular season. So I think we'll see both of what our teams are going to be running going into the season. So I think that'll be an interesting one to see for sure. And then, like I said, next week we're going to do our season projections, season predictions. We're going to do standing predictions, award predictions, and let's talk about the upcoming NBA season. We'll also talk about like records and things like that. But yeah, that's all we have for you guys this week. If you liked, please make sure to leave a like. Please make sure to subscribe. Please make sure to tell a friend. We always love more listeners and more support. And if you want to leave a comment, make sure to leave a comment. I respond to a couple of them here and then, and I always love seeing you guys' comments, especially this guy from Serbia, Lord Godspin, I think is his name. He's a homie. He has some good comments. He's letting us know some good things. So shout out to him. But yeah, definitely reach out to us in any way, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Go Nuggets.